What's going on, everyone? Filthy Card Breaks here. I just got back in from the 2022 National, and I wanted to do a quick video recap of my experience. It was my first National. It was a lot of fun, and I learned a lot. So just kind of wanted to go through my takeaways. I actually have a notepad to my left because I didn't want to forget anything because I had so much I wanted to touch on. Before I dive into the National, I did want to show off, Rob at Late Night Breaks sent me a really impressive care package. So I'm going to go through those real quick. Just some really cool cards. And this isn't everything he sent me. He sent me this great vintage Hank, a awesome Topps Chrome Update rookie of Ronald Acuna. Put him in the background so we got something nice to look at. He sent me this Mackie Backstrom. That's a refractor out of $4.99. Really nice Ian Anderson auto here. Throw him in the background as well. A couple Killnicks, one numbered out of 99 from Prospect Pool. And this Heritage is a image variation. So really generous of Rob. And I'll put a link in the notes to his channel. Please check him out if you have a shot, if you enjoy watching card openings on YouTube. Okay, so we're going to get right back into it. I'm going to start with the venue itself. So this National was in Atlantic City. I know last year was in Chicago, and I believe next year is also going to be in Chicago. I haven't been to those shows, so I can't really compare, but I can speak about my experience in Atlantic City. First off, traveling to Atlantic City is terrible. There's just no other way to get around that. For me, I had to drive an hour to a large airport, then I had to take 2 planes, and then 2 trains, because most of the planes only fly into Philadelphia. Atlantic City has a very small regional airport, so price-wise, it just made more sense to fly into Philadelphia. And then from Philadelphia, you have to take 2 trains to get to Atlantic City. So you're looking at like an entire, at least for me, like an entire day of just spent traveling, which in and of itself is kind of exhausting. So that part is really unfortunate, the traveling aspect. I know, again, for myself, my local airport has direct flights to Chicago, so it'll be a much easier traveling experience next year if I'm able to go. All right, the next thing I have here is when leading up to the National, I was reading online and forums, particularly the blowout forums, and a lot of people were mentioning that Atlantic City is not safe. They said to stick to the boardwalk. Well, I have to say that I thought the boardwalk was exceptionally clean for such a large public space. There were some panhandlers and beggars, but I never felt unsafe. The public utilities were really clean, like the bathrooms. The boardwalk itself was really clean. And I felt safe the whole time I was there. Now, I never ventured off the boardwalk except when I was at the convention, so I can't really speak to the city outside of that area, but I thought it was a really cool area. There's lots to do there. You know, you have all the casinos, a ton of restaurants and shops. You have bars and nightclubs if you're into that. There's the pier with all the games. So I feel like that area of Atlantic City, there was a ton to do. Now flipping over to the convention center, this was frustrating for me, and everyone I talked to at the show also felt frustrated. There was almost no internet access, so it was really hard to get reception, which makes it impossible for people to comp cards. And I don't want to understate how important that is. Almost certainly tons of deals didn't happen because people were not willing to not able to comp cards. I was at a table, and I actually was at a table. I ended up picking up a card that I'll show later. And a guy went up to the dealer and was trying to sell a really nice Matthew Stafford card. I'm not super familiar with Panini products, so I don't even know what set it was, but it was a really beautiful low-numbered Matthew Stafford autograph. And the dealer straight up told him, I don't have the ability to comp this card, so I can't pay you what you're asking for. And I can't remember the number that the person was asking, but the dealer is very transparent, said, we don't have internet, I can't look this card up, and I don't know what its real value is. I'm not going to be able to buy it from you. And then on top of that, I also saw people who were trying to pick up big cards and they needed to pay with PayPal or Venmo. And they had to leave the convention center to send those payments because there's no internet at the convention center. So that that probably really killed a lot of deals that could happen. I think next time they have it at that venue, they really need to consider getting a mobile tower. So I know at least Verizon, and I'm sure the other cell carriers as well, you can rent mobile cell towers. And I just think that that's going to be a must if they have the convention in Atlantic City again. The no internet just probably really slowed some of the cash flow in the building as far as buying and selling, because you just can't comp cards. The next thing I wanted to talk about was some helpful tips that I read going into the National. So a lot of people or resources I visited said really wear comfortable shoes, comfortable clothing, and that's 100% true. I'm going to try to post my step count here, but the days that we were there, I think I had 19,000, and then 22,000 steps. And now, not all of that was at the show because I was with a group, and at night we would walk the boardwalk, go out to eat, go to the casinos, check those out. But so on top of having like 20,000 steps every day, the 10 hours I spent at the show, we were all on our feet. There's no place to sit there, so I was physically exhausted by the second day. I'm in my early 30s for reference, but it definitely took a toll on my knees, and my feet were killing me. So I'm really grateful that I did prioritize wearing comfortable clothes, and I think that helped a lot, but it is physically exhausting. The next thing, a lot of people mentioned that the show itself is overwhelming, and I have to agree with that. There's just so much there, just so many cards, so many breakers, corporate. There's just a ton there, and I definitely could feel that overwhelming. I felt at times I kind of rushed myself to go through booths. So next year I really want to kind of split it up, and instead of trying to feel like obligated to visit every show, every booth, and go really fast, maybe take one day, go through a third of the booths, another day, another third of the booths, and really slow down and kind of take my time a little bit more. People also mentioned take notes because it's easy to forget what booth it is when you're looking for cards. And I agree with that too, 100%. It's there's like 26 or 27 rows, and each row has maybe 24 booths on it. So it's really easy to forget where you saw a card that you later want to pick up. So I was snapping photos of everything, which reminds me of a story actually. Just to be polite, every time I took a picture of a card, which was dozens of times, I would ask the dealer, hey, is it right if I snap some pictures? And 99% of the time they said, yeah, no problem. A couple times people, especially the vintage dealers, they offered to take it out of the case for me so I could get better pictures, which I really appreciated because there's so much emphasis on how a card presents for vintage. But at one of the booths I asked, and this guy had really high-end stuff, and I wanted to take a picture of a Topps Chrome Acuna auto. So I said, hey, can I snap a picture of this? And he looked at me kind of skeptical, and he said, well, what are you taking pictures of? And I told him the Acunas, he had 3 or 4 of them, and he said, yeah, that's fine, go ahead. But that caught me off guard just because every other time I'd asked, they were always like, yeah, no problem. But yeah, I took a lot of pictures and notes. All right, so now let's get to the show and some of my pickups. You can see in the background here I have this VIP. For me personally, VIP wasn't worth it. It's probably not something I'll do going forward. I'll just get the regular passes. The stuff in the VIP swag bag, I'll share one right now. My wife went with me, so I got 2 of these packs. There was a lot of like notepads and 10% off coupons and things like that. But as far as cards, you get this upper deck package. We've got Michael Jordan and then LeBron James on the back. It is branded with the National. You get one of these Leaf cards. This one's Bryce Young. I think my other one was Steph Curry. Here's a 20% off coupon from Ultra Pro. And then this from Panini. We got Drake London on the back and Matt Corral on the front. So that's kind of what you get in the VIP package, aside from the other perks. For me, I just don't know that it's really worth the extra cost. I think if I go again in the future, I'll probably just buy a 5-day early pass and go through it that way. As I mentioned earlier, the show had just so much amazing vintage, and I'm going to try to, my hope is that I can include some pictures as I'm talking about the show, so you guys can kind of see some of the cards that I snapped pictures of. But you know, you're talking about just Mickey Mantle rookies, Hank Aaron rookies, Willie Mays rookies left and right, and just really cool stuff that you don't see very every day. As far as my pickups, so I'm going to go into some sealed wax I bought. I was with my buddy Sonny for most of the show, and we both bought a box of 2021 Bowman Chrome and HTA box, so we didn't have to carry all the base. And both the boxes were pretty bad. But here were my autos: Tyler Gentry, Franiel Baez, and then this last card. I saw this gold and I saw the Pirates. I was thinking, man, if this is a Shailen Polanco or Liover Peguera, this is going to be a really nice card. Ended up being a pitcher, Santiago Flores. I'm not familiar with Santiago. He could be a really nice prospect, but that was definitely a dud of a box. I also bought a random pack from Dollar Sports Cards, I think they were called. But I had talked to the guy on Blowout, and funny enough, they have these products which are an actual backpack, and each contains a card and a sealed box of wax. And the backpack I took on the trip broke while we were flying. So I was like, this is super convenient because I can get a new backpack and hopefully some cards. And my random card was this really cool retro reprint of the Johnson Bird rookie card. Really neat. I think they said it's from 1996 Topps Chrome. You'll have to forgive me if I'm wrong there, but kind of a neat cool card that I intend to hold on to. I don't really collect basketball, but obviously I think everyone knows who those three players are. Really iconic card and reprint there. And then my sealed wax was Illusions 2019 through 2020. So this is going to be Zion's rookie year. I don't know much about the Illusion set, but I don't know if I'm going to open that down the road or if that's just something that I'm going to throw in my closet and see what happens. But that was the sealed wax I bought. Now for my other pickups, I was really happy with the cards I bought. I didn't buy a ton, but I actually wrote down a list of cards that I wanted, and I got the top 2 cards on my list, so I was really excited about that. The first one being a Topps Chrome, 2018 Topps Chrome rookie autograph refractor of Ronald Acuna. So this was the #1 card I was looking for at the show. This exact card, actually, the rookie refractor out of 499 auto. This one's 99 out of 499. I didn't care too much about the grade, but this is a BGS 9.5. It has 2 9.5 subgrades, a 10 for centering and a 9 for edges. And yeah, I'm just very pumped to add this Acuna rookie card auto to my collection. And like I mentioned, it was one of the cards that I wanted. The second one, going back to the amazing vintage, I really wanted a 1955 Hank Aaron. I have the 56, and I'm trying to put together the whole Hank Aaron Topps run. Of course, 54 is his rookie, but that was a little bit out of my price range for this trip. So I wanted a nice 55, and I was able to get this beautiful SGC3. In my opinion, this card presents so well. The reason it got a 3, and I don't even know if I can pick it up on the camera, there is a crease over here, kind of by Hank's ear. Man, you can definitely see it if you tilt the card. Like I can see it right now, but it's not showing up on camera. So that's the main reason it got a 3. But if it's on display, oh, you can see it a little bit here. But if it's on display and sitting out, the card presents way better than a 3. It just looks great in my opinion. So I was really happy to get this particular 55 Hank. And it also came with this top 30% from PWCC. You can ignore the price sticker. That's not what I paid for this. It comes with this top 30% from PWCC. I don't really know. I'm not familiar enough with vintage to really know how that impacts what the card's worth. But I thought this card just looked presented awesome. And I'm super excited to have that one. One thing I thought was really cool at the show is there were a ton of kids, and I'm talking like 10, 12, 14-year-olds who were wheeling and dealing. Me and my buddy laughed because we were at a booth, and a little kid walks up to a dealer, and he points at a card, and he said the last two comps on this are 27 and 41. What's the lowest you can go? Just straight to the point. So maybe the kid needs to develop a little bit more tact. But it was really fun seeing how confident some of these kids are wheeling and dealing. I know at that age, I would have had much more trepidation trying to make a deal with an adult. So it was really cool to see all the entrepreneurial-minded kids who were into collecting or flipping sports cards, and they were all over. This next card comes with a story. So I had heard people mention at shows that there'll be a lot of people with social media filming, and I did see some social media people or influencers, if you want to call them. I saw Gary Vee there. I saw Sasha, I think it's Sasha T. And then I saw the sports card investor team. I didn't ever see Jeff Wilson at the actual show, but I saw the sports card investor team. And this is a card that I took a picture of that I wanted. This is a Max Verstappen. This is 2020 Topps Chrome Sapphire, and it's just his portrait in a CSG 9.5. And I took a picture, and then I went to go back to get this card, and this table was at the end of a row, and there was a guy there. I honestly don't know who it was, or I would just say their name. I don't know who the person was, but he was there with an entire posse, a guy filming on like an industrial sized camera, and then a security guy. And I understand that he wants to promote himself because he was buying a sealed case of something. I couldn't even tell what it was from the same dealer that had this Max. But it was so obnoxious. He blocked that entire aisle, and people are just waiting to get by, and you're just squeezing by because now this aisle is compressed to basically single file, because his posse and himself and his security guy and his camera have taken up 2/3 of the aisle. So now it's basically single file, and people want to go both ways. So it caused a giant traffic jam. It was super obnoxious. So that's kind of unfortunate. But other than that, I didn't really run into any issues with people filming or having their cameras out or snapping pictures. But I did want to point that out. And going back to this particular card, the reason I came back to it, so I saw that they had it listed for $300. I wasn't sure what this card wanted, but I did want it for what this card comped at, but I did want it for my F1 collection. So when I was able to get internet, I looked up the price of the card, and I said, man, $300 seems like a really solid deal for this. But I'm going to offer $250 and see where we go. I probably would have paid $300. I'm not a big fan of CSG, but it is created gem mint. And I went to the dealer after the influencer was gone, and I said, would you do $250? They instantly accepted. The reason I wanted to point this out is because $250 is about what this card goes for raw. So I don't know, maybe CSG is not really adding any value to these, or I got a great price. Could be a little bit of both. But I basically got the CSG gem mint for the same price this card goes for raw. I thought that was kind of interesting and worth pointing out. Another quick story is at the National, I talked to a dealer who had this same card, but it was Lewis Hamilton instead of Max Verstappen, but also the 2020 Topps Chrome F1, the portrait of Lewis Hamilton. That was in a PSA 10. And I asked him for a price. He opened up the case that the card was in. A lot of dealers at the show price their cards on the back of the card, which is a little frustrating because you have to ask them every time if you want to know the price of something. So he turned it over. He told me the price, which is over 2 times what that card actually goes for, and then kind of sheepishly said, yeah, I just paid way too much for this, so that's what I have it priced at. And I have heard people online say that happens a lot at shows. But this is the first time I've kind of experienced it, at least in a way that the dealer was transparent. Like, he was aware that he was pricing this card way too high because he paid too much, which as a consumer is kind of silly, because for me, when I'm buying your card, it doesn't matter to me what you paid for it. You could have paid $10 and I'm paying $300, and good for you, you just made a lot of money. Or you could have paid $1,000 and I'm buying it for $300, and that's really unfortunate for you. But for me, as the consumer buying the card, it's just irrelevant what you paid for it. So I did see that, and I thought it was worth pointing out. The last thing I want to talk about, I know this video is running long. Like I said, I had a lot to talk about. The last thing I wanted to mention was trade night. So I went to the Card Collector 2 trade night. I'm going to show up and he did give us t-shirts, which is pretty neat, and a couple other goodies. There was a lot of brands that were promoting goodies. I got a couple water bottles and a couple bags and things like that. So there is definitely some swag. And also in the goodie bag that had the t-shirt, it had a pack from Panini Player of the Day basketball. And in mine, I got this cool Colin Sexton jumbo patch. So trade night was great. There was a ton of people, and just a ton in a giant conference room that had some tables in the middle and then a lot of empty space on the outside. And at first, I decided I'd walk around the outside of the venue and see if anyone was willing to make deals. But as I was going to people and asking about cards that I wanted, it seemed like people either only wanted to sell, like they just wanted cash. They didn't really come to trade, or they were trading, but they wanted like one or two specific players. So that was a little unfortunate, because I had spent most of my cash on these 3 cards. So I didn't have a ton to buy, like, to buy very expensive cards. And I really wanted to trade. I had brought like 50 slabs that I wanted to trade for this trade night. So eventually what I ended up doing was just sitting down in an area that had a bunch of space, and I laid out maybe 10 or 15 of my slabs to see if anyone would stop by. And then it ended up being a lot of people stopped by and, asked what price I wanted. I met a lot of great people. I was chatting away. I actually talked to Filmington, who makes the rookie card explosion box. We chatted for like 10 minutes. It was really nice to meet him. I've talked to him online a couple times, so it was great to put a face to a name. Ultimately, the only trade that I made was for this Noel V. Marte Bowman Chrome Auto. Sorry, Mariners fans, I think I jinxed it, because I traded for this Thursday night, and then he got traded, Friday during the day. So I think I ruined that. So I picked this up, and I traded a Pete Crow Armstrong First Bowman Sapphire and a PSA 10 and a little bit of cash for the Marte. So that was my last pickup. Very happy. I'll put him over Max here. So very happy with my pickup. Like I said, the Acuna and Hank were literally the top 2 on my wanted list. So I felt like I really did a good job of getting the cards that I came there to buy. And I just really enjoyed the National. I think I've hit everything that I had noted down. But thanks for watching. I know this video is running very long. If you guys have any questions about the National, then please leave a comment down below. I'll try to reply. Or you have any feedback on my pickups, I'd love to chat with you guys. Have a great week. Take care, and we'll talk to you later.